Okay, so today's video is a little bit delayed, but I actually wanted to wait because I felt like with how serious the story is, I just kind of needed to give it a minute to, evolve and see where it was going. And I'm glad because today a statement was given from the other side. So now we have like one statement, a response, and then another response. So I'm just glad I waited because I would have just been an incomplete video. And I'm just, with more serious topics, I have to give it a few days at least to sit and collect data. If it's like a silly thing, then it's fine, we can do updates. But with this, I just wanted to give it a more streamlined video instead of having to give follow-ups and you know what I mean. Yeah, today's video is more serious. It's about two TikTokers. You probably know from the title what's going on. So I'm gonna give a little breakdown, but also I did film a video on this when this initially happened 7 months ago. I did a video covering what happened back then, so I'm going to put that video in the description if I remember to do so. I hope I do. If not, it will be in the end card where I have like my 2 videos and subscribe situation, so you can watch it there. And it's going to give a little bit more backstory, but I'm going to recap everything here anyway. So if that's, you don't want to watch a whole separate video, that's fine. You'll get the recap here, just not as detailed. Before we get into the video, subscribe, hit that bell, like, comment for engagement. I'll keep you in the loop about what's going on the internet, whether it's multiple little topics in one video or one long video about a topic that I find interesting or something that just happened. Yeah, that'll be the case. Let's just get into it. So Sienna Mae and Wright. So they're two TikTokers. They're now both over the age of 18, but Jack actually turned 18 last year and Sienna Mae just turned 18 literally a few days ago. So Sienna Mae and Wright had this fake relationship that they had on TikTok, where we see this happen a lot in Hollywood, whether that's on TikTok, YouTube, just social media in general, or more Hollywood side of things. I feel like it's been going on for ages. Whenever there's some kind of a movie coming out or a TV show, the main cast always seems to start dating, for publicity. That's just literally it. So Jack and Sienna had this publicity relationship that they had. Now it's, I guess, okay when adults do it, when they in their 20s, 30s, they understand what's fake, what's real, they understand kind of what's going on. I feel like with this, it became messy because they were both like 16, 17, your hormones are going crazy, your feelings are going crazy, you're now faking this relationship, kissing on camera, cuddling, doing the whole thing. And I guess at that point it's difficult to separate kind of truth from false. Doesn't excuse anything, by the way, not using this as an excuse. I'm saying for both parties it was probably very confusing. Even for Jack, he did mention, just how weird it was to have this weird like on camera, off camera thing going on. Jack is actually a twin. So his twin is called James, and James has spoken out about this kind of first before Jack had spoken out. I'm gonna get into that in a minute. So 7 months ago, Jack's twin James started tweeting about something kind of horrible happening to Jack, done by a different content creator. So now everyone's assuming that it was Sienna Mae, because at that point they had officially kind of separated. They had unfollowed each other on social media and were posting, not petty, but just posting things that would make the other upset or jealous, etc. So people assumed that it had not been a civil breakup, even though it's not a proper breakup because they were never together. But you see what I'm saying? It was a breakup. So James is tweeting about this. Some friends are liking these tweets, retweeting them, responding to them. There are also people from Sienna Mae's high school that said that she was always really mean to people. And this is all very weird because she has this body positivity TikTok account where she, talks about being happy with the way you look and just being confident in yourself. But her whole career started on her duetting Olivia Ponton's TikTok and mocking Olivia for being body positive because she's a more slim girl. So then we have she actually released merch afterwards that had "Have you eaten today?" written on it, and people said that was just really weird. It was like really strange merch to make to capitalize on people's like eating disorders and to capitalize on the body positivity movement. So anyway, there's just a lot of drama with the way she has started her career. So a lot of people from her high school basically said that she was always really mean and like not this body positivity queen that everyone makes her out to be. But that's besides the point. We now get, her ex-friends and James tweeting about this. Jack never put out a statement. She puts out multiple TikToks that she has now deleted. And she also put out 2 video statements about this. So basically she just said that this is all a lie, that Jack was actually essayed by someone else, but it wasn't her. So if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, James and some of Jack's friends had released a video that I'm not going to put here, because I just don't think it's appropriate, where they're at a party and Jack is drunk and he says that he is unconscious. Now I'm going to keep on having to say allegedly, or there are accusations, or he says, she says, because 1, there's no police report, 2, this hasn't been like taken to court and trialed, so I will be sued if I say it as fact. So he says that he was unconscious at the time and she was touching him provocatively, where she did not need to touch him while he's unconscious and not giving consent. Allegedly, his friends had dragged her off of him and had a go at him and kicked her out after they had filmed the altercation that they had then posted. So his friends are saying it happened, and she's saying it's a lie in her video that, you know, if this happened, then why did he keep on hanging out with her, which is just like gaslighting to a different level. And it's just manipulation at that point. People don't realize things until later on in life. It happens. So she posted these 2 videos. They're still up on her channel, but the TikToks are not. And then she just went back to posting regular TikTok content as if nothing happened. And she was fine. She actually recently got some like new brand deals, even though she lost some when all of this went down. Now, Jack recently posted a TikTok that I actually mentioned in one of my recent videos, where he said, you know, everyone in LA knows who you are, knows what you're doing, and you've done this to other boys, not just me, and I'll be putting out a statement soon. Now, everyone assumed that this was about Sienna Mae, and lo and behold, he did post a video now that is on 16 million views. I haven't seen something gain that much traction in a really long time, and I'm glad it's a serious topic because, you know, it deserves it. But yeah, I just haven't seen that kind of a response in ages. So he posts this video and he basically explains in detail what happened between them, not just in that video that they filmed, but in just like their whole relationship, where he would make things very clear that, you know, this is for videos, this is for content, we're not dating, we're not together, I don't have feelings for you. And she would continue to push the line to the point where she would attempt to make out with him, she would attempt to touch him inappropriately, she would get naked in front of him and, you know, demand that something happen when he said no, that she would show up by his house uninvited, that she would follow him around, you know, he'd look outside his house and her car would be there at 2 a.m. There are just a lot of things that she had allegedly done that would constitute a toxic / abusive relationship. That's his statement that he put out. Like I said, it's now on 16 million views. Sienna Mae immediately starts losing a lot of followers. I think at this point she had lost 400,000, but that could be more, you know, by the time I put the video out. This is a statement that she had put out. I'm going to read it out to you guys. I just think if I skip anything, it loses context. I'm just going to read out to you guys and we'll just go over it. And then we'll go over his next statement that he had posted in response to her statement. So there is some back and forth now, which I'm glad I'm covering all of it in one video so it's more concise and easy to understand. So she says, Sienna Mae Gomez, reflections from an 18-year-old me. I'm not really sure why I don't know, the whole age thing. She emphasizes it quite a bit in the, I don't know what the intention is here. I haven't even been 18 a whole week yet, but the decisions I've had to make as a new adult are challenging me in ways that make me wish I could just go back to being a kid. If you're here, you probably know about my situation. I'm going to assume that you already know that for the last 8 months, I've been fighting a very public battle that involves topics I didn't know much about until recently. Trigger warning, essay, boundaries, consent. For 8 long, grueling months, I've been fighting to save friendships, save business, relationships, to save my own mental health. Up until this week, I was so proud of the progress I made, like being on my phone less and learning to surf and cook with friends, and value things that really matter. 4 days after turning 18, my former friend Jack Wright, the one I've been tangled with in a toxic web of accusations and internet tea, posted a 17-minute video about me. Yesterday, 5 days past turning 18, I had to say okay to a media statement written by my publicist in response to that video. Shortly after that, my legal team sent his legal team a letter threatening a lawsuit of defamation of my character because that is the best next step to clear your name. I'm sure it's all hitting the media now. I've never been so scared in my life. I thought turning 18 would be amazing, and so far it honestly just sucks. I have 3 choices I can see. 1, go read the millionth I hope you kill yourself message in my DMs. 2, let my well-meaning parents and team dictate next steps that tie us up for what could be years in a legal battle of people who I once considered my closest friends. Or 3, write down everything from my heart and use my newfound adult status to take accountability and share the whole truth with anyone who will listen. To be honest, it's hard not to choose number 1 and to actually follow it through. I told my parents last night that I just want to die. I'm so tired of fighting. I'm so tired of seeing the hate and people taking sides. My heart hurts for my friends, my family, and people I associate with who are getting bullied on their own social media accounts just because they know me. So I'm going to choose number 3 for the sake of the people I love. I'm just going to get real and bare my soul and have faith and trust I will land where I'm meant to be. Now, the beginning of Jack and Sienna, when I was just 16 years old, one of my TikTok videos went viral on social media, then another. I asked my hometown friend, James Wright, to do the first big interview with me in LA. He was out of town, so he asked his twin brother Jack to go with me. I was friends with Jack but knew James better. Both of them had blown up on TikTok a few months earlier than me. From that day on, my life would never be the same. Jack introduced me to people in LA, to new friends that had been watching online for months, to a new fast-paced lifestyle that was so different than the one we lived in our small town. We instantly connected. He was my person. We got each other safely home after parties. We had each other's backs. People noticed a spark between us and our videos together went viral. Suddenly, we were America's favorite teenage ship, and it all happened so fast that neither of us really knew what it meant. We were thrown into a crazy, exciting relationship because the public demanded it. We couldn't make enough content together. If we just went a few days without the other in the videos, the press would run stories like, Did Jack and Sienna break up? And people would comment things like, if they don't get married, I don't believe in love. Major companies were reaching out for brand deals for us, and Jack even switched agents to make it easier for work opportunities. Somewhere along the way, and in a very confusing state of not knowing what was fake and what was real, I started to fall in love with him. Hype House. In December 2020, after 4 incredible months of TikTok fame, more fun than I've ever had, and what seemed like the perfect life, I got a call from the producers of the Hype House show asking me to be one of their featured influencers headlining the series. They also told me that they didn't plan to have Jack in a lead role. To me, that felt wrong. He was the one who introduced me to all these people, and I wasn't even an official member of the Hype House. Thomas Petrie asked me to join, but my parents said no. So I decided to be on the show, but only if Jack was the lead role too. They agreed. From February through April 2021, we filmed for the show. They filmed us both in our hometown. They filmed scenes with our family and friends at my house and at his. They even filmed us in Hawaii. While a lot of it was fun, what wasn't fun is that producer and other Hype House members kept pressing us to define what we were. Two 17-year-olds being pressured again and again to answer questions like, are you more than friends? And what do you love most about him, her? It was so confusing and emotional as both started to realize that uncovering the truth behind a relationship, which we agreed not to put a label on, was a major storyline on the show. The more they pressed me on camera, the more emotional I got because I wasn't sure if we were friends or more. We would agree to be just friends, and then he would give me expensive or even matching jewelry or plan elaborate outings. We would talk in a quiet place and say we were just friends, and then the next day be making out with each other for the cameras. I didn't know what was being set up by producers and if it was real or fake. I told him I loved him, and he said he loved me too. I would ask if he wanted to be more than friends, and he would say not yet. Rejection isn't comfortable, but it's honest. The show had to go on, so I just kind of went with it. Hawaii and the video. In May, we took another trip to Hawaii, though Hype House filming had wrapped. At this point, the internet was going crazy for our content, especially since we hadn't posted a lot during filming because it had to be exclusive for the show. We both felt pressure. I wasn't originally supposed to be on this trip, but to be clear, he said I could come a few days before going. Looking back now, I see that it was to make content. Something on this trip was different. Everywhere we went, he introduced me as his girl, but then take pictures and blatantly flirt with other people. I was jealous, but more than that, I was confused. Why was I here? Why was he introducing me to his counterpart, telling me to wait patiently to be together if he didn't really want any of it? And then without producers and cameras around me for the first time in months, it really hit me. He liked me when he needed me for a video or for work, but he didn't like me otherwise. I asked him to make a video of me explaining to our fans that we were truly just friends. I told him that if he didn't have real feelings for me, I wanted to set the record straight publicly about our relationship, as explained and shown in a response video from last year. He told me we had brand partnerships riding on our fake one and that it wasn't fair to him. I couldn't believe that someone who I had created with, laughed with, and cried with could so easily disregard my feelings for the sake of money. He apologized and I appreciated that, but I needed time away from him and our public persona to think and heal. So I went home and took time away from him and his family. I received multiple texts from James, Jack's twin, asking why I wasn't responding to them. 2 weeks later, they started posting Instagram stories targeted at me. 1 day later, their friend Mason put up a tweet implying that I physically and mentally abused Jack. A few days after that, their friend Lachlan released a video taken from November 2020, partly showing Jack and me kissing. He narrated the whole thing to make it look like something it wasn't. To be clear, James took the video as a joke on his Snapchat 7 months earlier and they decided to resurface it. I would like to think that neither Mason nor James realized the impact that their tweets and taken out of context video would have. Though they took it all down, it didn't really matter. The damage had been done. My character became a topic of public opinion. I lost friends, I lost brand deals, my reputation was damaged. I went from being one of the most loved girls on the internet to one of the most hated. I went quiet, I lost my will to live and had to be saved. I spent months healing and getting better. My team asked Hype House producers to remove me from the show so that I did not have to relive the online bullying in light of the crazy Team Jack and Team Sienna sentiment online, as they knew people would pick apart every interaction between us. Netflix also did not want to be liable for my mental health. That's why I wasn't in the show. That's why producers had to figure out what to fill without months of Jack and Sienna footage. I'm sure the Hype House members are mad at me. I'll probably be mad at me too. I'm sorry, especially for the cast and crew who worked so hard on this show. Now, I wondered why the episodes were just 30 minutes long. Usually Netflix does an hour episode. If it's like a Netflix original, they usually do hour-long episodes. Essentially, there were 8 episodes of 30 minutes, which makes it 4 hours, which is a very short Netflix show. Usually if they do 8 episodes, they're hour-long, which makes them 8 hours. Now, I'm assuming a lot of that time was probably spent on Sienna and Jack because they probably would have made for good TV, not knowing what was happening behind the scenes. And when they found out, aka the producers, they had to cut it because at that point it's like criminal behavior and it isn't just this like, are they together, are they not? Like, we're talking about real crimes here. So I guess that's why they took it out, and maybe that's why the show was so short. I was so confused as to why the show was only 4 hours long. But now looking at it, maybe that was supposed to be one of their main plot lines and they realized kind of like the depths of the situation and they just didn't really want to, you know, put all of it out there, and Sienna didn't give them permission. So that makes sense now for why the show was so short. Jack, saying the record straight, I had 3 relationships in my life. My first boyfriend was so sweet to me, and although I was just turning 14 when I started dating him, he was supportive and caring and communicated his feelings, like how he preferred my time over public affection. In his YouTube video, Jack brought this relationship up, even though it happened 4 years ago. Did I kiss another guy? Yes, I did, a day after we broke up. And I'm still friends with both he and my ex, and they were friends with each other. It happened when we were 14, 15 years old, and he got over it because that's what people do. My next boyfriend is one of the funniest and big-hearted people I know. I hung out with him and his family just a few weeks ago, and the reason we broke up after almost a year together was because he didn't like me being on social media. We decided to just be friends exactly 1 week after my first video went viral. The whole thing with Jack is breaking his heart because he knows the real me, not just some version of me. It's ironic now that his fear of social media and online fame and what that might do to me is the reason we broke up. And then came Jack. I was really grateful to know someone already in the social media world, and we had so much fun together. But as someone I loved and still love, I'm devastated that he made me sound crazy and twisted so many things out of context in his most recent video, to the point of literally painting me into the loud, crazy, overly sexualized stereotype that people try to use on young, especially Latino women. It sucks, and I'm still unpacking that, but all I can own are my words, and I want to clear a few things up. I never broke into Jack's house. Did I know the code to his garage door? Yes, because he gave it to me. One of the first scenes we filmed for the Hype House show was me walking into his house and jokingly saying, I'm home, because that's what everyone does at Wright's house. It's the hangout house. When Jack and James lived there was always friends around, even sometimes until 2 a.m. Jack said he used to see my car at 2 a.m. in front of his house, but failed to mention that most times there would be other friends there too. I never stalked him. I never sat outside his house in the middle of the night. Over the past week, some of our mutual hometown friends have reached out. Like me, they aren't sure how to process some of what Jack is saying and are just confused as I am. All Jack and I ever did was kiss. I have never seen, felt, or touched him naked. We spent several nights at the Hype House together, but I never grabbed him asleep or awake. Yet I'm still being called a R-word across the internet by those who don't understand the meaning of the word. There is a counterpoint for every point Jack made in this video, but I'm not going to do that. Did I do some things wrong and sloppy as a 16, 17-year-old girl who felt love for a guy? Yes, for sure. I admit to stepping out of a car, stopped at a stop sign last New Year's after we publicly fought. There was alcohol involved, and I'm definitely not proud of my behavior. After we kissed at midnight, he went and flirted with other people. At least that's how I saw it. I got jealous, it was stupid, and I'm so ashamed. But that said, he did some stupid stuff too, like chasing after a car full of guys trying to start a fight with them because they catcalled me on the street. Or locking our mutual friend out of his rental house in Hawaii because he was flirting with me. I don't know, chalk it up to being young and the fact that our brains aren't fully developed yet. Teenagers do stupid things. My regrets. I wish I knew what I know now. I wish we had laid out boundaries that made sense to us both, that protected both of us from feeling vulnerable or misled. I don't know a lot of other people who at 17 know how to do that with their partners, but I would have liked to try. I wish I knew that every time he did something nice for me didn't necessarily mean that he wanted to be my real life boyfriend and not just my internet boyfriend. I wish we knew together how toxic the relationship had become before it spun out the way it did. Looking back, there are definitely some things I would do differently. Trigger warning essay, my first set of YouTube videos now. She addresses her 2 statements that she made on her channel. Shortly after the first allegation came out last June, I made 2 videos, both are still on my YouTube, which I wish I could take back. I'm not proud of how I responded and want to apologize to SA survivors who are offended with my ignorance in responding to these fake allegations. They were made hastily and without oversight from anyone but my brother and me. I've since learned a lot about SA and the psychological trauma responses victims of SA may develop as a result of abuse. I learned what Stockholm Syndrome and trauma bonds are, and I'm grateful to have had the opportunity to learn so that I can be a better ally to victims of SA. Understanding love languages. When Jack and I fought, I tried to fix it with love and affection. Growing up, I was taught to be communicative and treat each other with love. For me, that meant hugs and physical affection, which means yes, I would wrap my hands around him to hug him when I was feeling insecure when he was. I also tried to verbally express my feelings for him because that's what I like in relationships. We would joke about it all the time and even made TikToks about it because to both of us, at least at the time, it was funny. Looking back, I see that I should have met him at his love language versus mine, and I'm sorry for that because I think it meant we blurred boundaries that should have been stronger. My only intention was to love him and tell him that he mattered. It's my mistake. I'll never make again. The importance of consent. Consent isn't really something that is formally taught in school. My parents have been married for 23 years and I grew up watching them freely express affection to each other. I understand now not everyone has this comfortability with affection. I understand now that when you're in a relationship, there needs to be a very open and honest conversation about consent, even before sexual acts, even if it's holding hands, hugging, or being affectionate in a friendly manner. The last thing I would ever want to do is breach someone's boundaries, and for that I have become explicitly aware of the way I interact with others and will do better. Jack, if you're reading this, I apologize if there were times that made you feel uncomfortable. I am sorry if anything I ever did triggered other things you've experienced or any feelings of discomfort. But anything I did unknowingly, as our physical relationship on camera was one of closeness and familiarity that I'd known to carry into our real lives. That said, there is a distinct line between that and SA. I'm so sad that this is where we ended up, and even more so that I'm now being used in a new and even more hurtful way. I'm growing. When I was growing up, I wished every day to become famous, probably like a lot of kids. It sounds so dumb, but I think I kind of willed myself to where I am now. I'm having obsessive thoughts about what it would be like to be back at my old high school, choreographing routines from a varsity dance team and waiting for my college acceptance letters. about not having to wear sunglasses and a hat in Starbucks drive-through line at night because I don't want the person giving me my drink to spit in it because he thinks I'm an abuser. About not worrying that I'm saying the wrong thing or making the wrong move. If I was a normal girl in normal school, I would be worried about my high school drama rather than trying to wrap my head around how my decisions in response to these serious allegations will have life-changing repercussions on me, my family, and people I still care about, despite putting whatever hurts we harbor towards each other online for the world to dissect and comment on. Honestly, I wish I had more time to be normal. I want this madness to end. I want people to think before they comment unnecessary, hateful things on my socials and my friends' socials and on Jack's socials. I'm tired of seeing people that I don't know from my hometown or otherwise jump on the hate train and make up lies. I'm confused that people say arrest her when there has been no involvement by police, no investigations, and no legal action other than mine since this all began. I'm tired of living in a space of sadness because I still don't know how exactly one of my best friends turned into someone I will forever be negatively linked with. For many, this is TikTok drama and tea, but for me, this is my life. He has now seen that statement and has now responded to the statement with a new written statement rather than a new video, so I'll get into that now. It's a lot shorter than hers, so it will take less time. And this is a statement that he made to NBC, and it's a representative of Jack Wright that sent it in, so it might not be his exact words, but this is roughly what he and his representative have discussed and then sent off to NBC. I truly appreciate Sienna's acknowledgement that she made mistakes and that she did not fully understand consent. It is a step in a positive direction. I believe Sienna is struggling to face the truth and the harmful, painful choices she's made. Every word in my video is the truth. I hope she continues to get help so that this never happens again. Separately, to everyone who has reached out to me over the past few days, thank you. I'm deeply moved by the support and those who have shared their own difficult stories. No one deserves to suffer in silence because you think you won't be believed. Please know that I hear you and believe you. I want to make sure you know about rain.org. They can help Jack Wright. So now that we're here, that's now everyone's statement against Sienna. So James and their friends 7 months ago. Then we had Sienna's statements. Then we have Jack's TikTok and Jack's official YouTube statement. And now we have her response and then his response again. So now we know kind of roughly everything. The general consensus is that people believe Jack and feel bad for him. There are obviously a few people that don't believe him. As with every situation, there are people that are going to be on both sides. I've seen TikToks showing how her behavior was always really weird towards him. But then I've also seen TikToks saying, oh, well, you know, they behaved this way on camera, so she's probably just confused. Now, there are both sides. Both are getting backlash. Both are getting criticism. I feel like in general, though, most people are on his side. And hence why she has lost now over 400,000 followers, and also can't really express opinions, otherwise I'll be sued. So I'm just gonna leave this here. Let me know what you guys think about the whole situation, and yeah, I'll see you in my next one.